move forward. We're quoting now from an interview Darryl Kile did in 1993 after his father died following a heart attack at the age of 44. You've got to separate your personal life from your work life. It may sound cold, but I've got work to do. Now, in the wake of Kyle's sudden death over the weekend at the age of 33, the Cardinals as a team must somehow now find the same resolve that Darryl Kile showed in 1993 when he pushed past his father's death and went on to put up his first double-digit win season. The Cards, without their leader, are back home in St. Louis today. Ann Werner, also in St. Louis. She joins us now live on SportsCenter. Ann.
Trey, we've learned a few details of how this will play out over the next couple of days. The start of tomorrow's game against Milwaukee has been pushed back. At 7 o'clock Central Time tomorrow night, there will be a remembrance for Darryl Kile, a video tribute, a moment of silence, and then the first pitch against the Brewers will come at 7:20. Outside Busch Stadium today, a memorial to Jack Buck, the beloved Cardinals broadcaster who died last week, sits just 20 yards from the one created for Kile. A steady stream of fans have been visiting all day.
Last Cardinals game I was at, Darryl Kile pitched, and bottom of the ninth was tied 3-3, and J.D. Drew hit a home run, walk-off home run, and it was a really memorable moment, and Darryl Kile was pitching that night. I'm here to pay my respects to the man. This Cardinal Nation is that much stronger because of this adversity and these struggles, especially with Jack Buck last week.
I think people come down here because they want to do something. Just like when anyone dies, you want to do something, and there's really nothing you can do except hopefully learn something from the life that they lived.
I just seen him a couple days ago.
Yeah.
Can't believe it.
And fans will get their chance to honor Darryl Kile more on Wednesday. There will be a public memorial service here at Busch Stadium that starts at 12:30 Central Time on Wednesday. The current team will be involved, and all of Kyle's past teammates will be invited as well. Trey?
All right, Ann, thanks very much. Now, Kyle's brother Dan was one of the last people to see him alive and said Darryl was complaining about tightness in his shoulder as well as fatigue, and both of those things could be symptoms of heart failure. Meanwhile, police spokesman today confirmed that a small amount of a substance police believed to be marijuana was found in Kyle's bathroom in the hotel in the morning he was found dead. However, the medical examiner's office in Chicago, Dr. Edmund Donahue, added, quote, "I want to make it very clear it had nothing to do with his death."
What the St. Louis Cardinals are dealing with is no different than what anyone who has suffered a loss must contend with, only most of us do so in private. The Cardinals are in full view nearly every night. There's ample precedent for their predicament. Kelly Neal reports now on how teams have tried to carry out their mission in public after being dealt a blow so personal.
Let me tell you something, there isn't anything you go through that gets you ready for what happened here. And I hope nobody, for years and years and years in any sport, has to go through it.
When professional athletes die during the season, teams are left to cope with the loss, yet continue to play. Just this past February, Padres reserve outfielder Mike Darr was killed in an auto accident right before the start of spring training.
You don't want to believe it. Shock. And like I said before, my immediate thoughts were to his family. 2 young children who were going to be dealing with a lost father, his wife.
How did the team move on? During spring training in 1993, the Cleveland Indians lost pitchers Tim Cruz and Steve Owen in a boating accident. Mike Hargrove was the Indians manager and says his team never truly recovered from their teammates' death, finishing 6th in the AL East, 19 games out.
It's just like a family. You have your squabbles and your bad times, but it is a large extended family. And when somebody is yanked out of the middle, as Darryl has been, and Steve and Tim were just yanked is the right word, just yanked out of the equation. There's a hole there. I mean, it's something that will be with them pretty much on a daily basis for the rest of this year.
Cubs manager Don Baylor still remembers what it was like as a player to lose his 27-year-old Angels teammate, Lyman Bostock, in 1978. Bostock was shot on a team road trip.
It was mid-September, so we didn't have long to finish the season. So when it comes midway through the season, it takes time. It takes all your willpower. Certain days you're going to kind of stray. Certain hours you're going to kind of stray and reflect that
That could be me.
Just over 10 months after Bostock's death, baseball was again stunned by the loss of one of its more prominent players.
Thurman Munson, the 32-year-old captain of the New York Yankees, is dead.
Munson died in August 1979 when the plane he was piloting on an off day crashed. The Yankees, World Series champions in 1978, did not make the playoffs that season.
It was a tragic loss to us. We have suffered no greater loss. There's still a locker in the Yankee locker room with number 15 on it. That is Thurman's locker. Nobody touches that locker, and it'll always be there. He was just that great.
Other sports have dealt with the trauma of a player's sudden death during the season. In January 2000, Hornets guard Bobby Phills died in a car accident following team practice. And last August in the NFL, Vikings tackle Corey Stringer died of heat stroke during training camp.
I don't even know how and when I'm going to get over this.
No one doubts that in any sport, aside from the deceased players' friends and family, teammates and coaches experience their loss most profoundly. But team sports foster a sense of community and camaraderie. Opposing players also feel the loss.
You feel like he's a teammate because, you know I've been facing him, it seems like since 1990, 91 or something. I'm not sure when he came up with Houston, but, you know, there's 800 of us basically in the big leagues today, and anyone in the game, in a sense, when you're not on the field, you feel like part of your family.
Even though he's not your family, it is part of your family because you do so many things together. I mean, you're traveling together, you're a team, you're pulling for each other, and you get to know one another so well that it's your second family.
The word fraternity has been brought up a lot to us and through the media in the last couple of days, and it's something very special. And me personally, and I know my team would like to just thank everybody that's in it and for understanding what we're going through and understanding what the family's going through, and that's what we have to say.
LaRussa says the Cardinal family will get through this tragedy together, and that Monday's off day was a much-needed emotional break. Mike Hargrove remembers the difficulty he had as he managed the Indians through their loss 9 years ago.
You know, the wound never really heals. I mean, it kind of just scabs over. And, you know, they say that time heals all wounds. Well, it doesn't. I still miss those guys terribly.
He's going to be missed every day the rest of probably our lives.
We're joined now on SportsCenter by Yankee broadcaster Bobby Mercer, who was a teammate of Thurman Munson's in 1979. And Bobby, it's been almost 23 years, and you heard Mike Hargrove talking about you never really get over it. Have you completely gotten over losing Thurman?
No, I don't think you do. I think that's a true statement. In fact, I'm reminded almost daily when I walk into the Yankee clubhouse and I see that empty locker that was right next to mine, as a matter of fact, that's empty and memorializes Thurman. But when there's a tragedy like this, you never really get over it, and certainly you'll never forget about it.
The Cardinals set to play their first game in St. Louis since the passing of Darryl Kile on Tuesday. I remember the Yankees' first home game back in New York after the passing of Thurman. Was that the toughest thing to get through that first game at Yankee Stadium, and will that be the toughest thing for the Cardinals, playing that first game at Busch without him?
Well, I think in realization, it's the farthest thing from your mind is to play baseball because your thoughts as a player and also as your family, and the baseball family in general, is about Darryl Kile and his family and the tragedy and the mourning that they're going through. You know, I certainly think there's a mourning period for you. But one of the things that helped us to get through it was the fact that when we were reminded that if it was Thurman having to make a decision on whether he wanted to play or not to play, and it was something that happened to us, I think he would want us to play. And so we kind of dealt with it that way, and after the mourning period was over with, we got back to baseball because that would be what Thurman would want, and I think that's what the Kile family would want too.
Well, the Cardinal teammates said the reason they played the game Sunday night is they knew Darryl Kile would want them to go out there. How difficult is it, though, a month from now, 2 months from now, to push past this? The Yankees of '79 never recovered. Can the Cardinals get past this, and is Tony La Russa vital to that?
Well, I think every team member, the coaches, the organization, and in general the baseball family they will eventually get over it. They will get through the mourning period. They'll never get over it, but they'll get through the mourning period. They'll realize that their job is to play baseball. And yes, it is a tragedy, and it's certainly a terrible thing that's happened to the Kile family. But baseball is their life, and that's what they did, and that's how they met Darryl Kile, was through baseball. And so I think with that respect, talking about baseball, and the Cardinals are in first place right now. They have a job to do, and I think they'll do it very well.
Bobby Mercer, thanks for joining us on a subject that all these years later still has to be very difficult. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Arteries. Kyle's brother Dan says on Friday night his brother was complaining of pain in the right shoulder and of being very tired. Now, Kile did have surgery on the right shoulder in the offseason, but doctors say the pain could have been a sign of heart failure. Sadly, a common angioplasty could have helped him. Today's fans trying to help by offering their sympathies. A week after a shrine to Jack Buck was built outside Bush, yet another now for Darryl Kile. A police spokesman confirmed today that a small amount of...
Get the accent.
Houston, the team that originally drafted Darryl Kile.
The Busch Stadium for the first time since Kile died on Saturday in Chicago. Game time pushed back 15 minutes for a pregame tribute to the guy they called DK. To Busch we go for that. The Cardinals coming out en masse. Kyle's number 57 on the outfield wall for the rest of the season. Everyone in the park observed 57 seconds of silence. And as you can tell, Dave Veers was upset. Bill DeWitt had this to say.
Cardinal tradition. A fine player with strong character, a great teammate and leader, involved in the community, and a wonderful family man.
The Cardinals and their fans just went through this last week with Jack Buck. Everyone in Cardinal Nation pretty much wrung out emotionally. Dave Veers, who played with Kile both in Colorado and Houston as well as St. Louis, overcome by the emotion. And then after all this, they had to go out and play a baseball game. The memorial service, by the way, is tomorrow. The Brewers...
And by Southwest Airlines, the 5,000.
NFL.com Fantasy is the only...